Hamida, if you don't mind starting and just giving us a little background on yourself, and then what has been your experience during this time? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I know we are from all over the world. I am Hamida Ahmed, as you've heard Karen introduce me. I am from Nairobi, Kenya, which is in East Africa. And it's actually, is it 9 or 6 p.m.? So it's at night. So I am a psychologist and a trainer by profession, but I started off as a teacher. I trained as a teacher and was in the classroom for 13 years. But in between, I was able to do a diploma in social work, which introduced me to counseling. That's where my interest in counseling came in. And I went back to school, resigned, went back to school to study psychology in my bachelor's, master's, and currently I'm a doctorate candidate doing my dissertation. So, and still I've continued working with children. So I've been a school counselor in one of the international schools here in Nairobi, Kenya, which is called Braeburn International School. We have over 80 nationalities. So I mean, we are pretty multicultural. So my experience, of course, is maybe like most of the people, it was quite unexpected for us to face this COVID, quite challenging, a lot of uncertainty, not knowing what to do, but also being a psychologist and especially in a school setup, a lot of expectations from me to provide guidance when it came to a lot of things. So it was as much as I was trying to understand what COVID is all about and the anxiety of COVID, the unpredictability of COVID. I also had a responsibility as a school counselor to support the students, to support the members of staff, and also to support the parents who are pretty anxious about the whole issue. Okay, it was exciting. Of course, at first we had to work from home, which was unique for us. I get to sleep and wake up and just sit on my desk and work, and the day is over. But then with time, it became exhausting. We now started seeing the seriousness of COVID and how it was affecting different people, and especially the anxiety. Our students had to go online. They had to start now remote teaching and learning when we realized that COVID was going nowhere. So the challenges of now using technology, the challenges of sometimes having unpredictable internet uh, misbehaving, basically. So having all these issues, of course, fueled a lot of anxiety in both the parents and the students and the teachers. So there were so many emails. Opening my emails in the morning was quite exhausting because you never know, each day was different. Some of the challenges I faced, one of them would be maybe boundaries, not having proper boundaries, because I realized that sometimes the students or the teachers or even the parents, and especially the parents, would reach out to me anytime, even if it was past school time, and wanting one thing or another for me to be able to support them. So I realized that I needed, with time now, to put boundaries, especially when it came to the time that I worked, when I chose not to look at my emails, because as long as I open an email, I have to act fast. So that was taking a toll on me as well. So some of the things I came across as a school psychologist, the sudden change, switching from in-person to now the remote teaching and learning, that was a huge challenge for everyone. But I'm glad that with time we were able to figure it out. Of course, the anxiety of the unknown of the pandemic, because there was so much information and you didn't know what was true, what was not true. So a lot of anxiety. Being away from school is one of the things that I had to deal with, especially with the students, the teens, missing their friends. So I remember during the sessions, I would ask, so do you miss school? Kinda, but I miss my friends. I mean, even the young ones would say, I miss my friends because there were no more play dates. So that was a huge challenge. Something else that was of a concern is of course, the cancellation of the IGCSE and the IB exams. And locally here, we have exams called KCPE for the primary and KCSE for the high school. You can imagine students having prepared for a number of years, and now suddenly they're not able to sit for their exams. That was quite challenging, and I had quite a bit of sessions with students, just helping them, supporting them through that process. And I know for the IGCSE and the IB students, they had to use their predicted grades as final grades. So you can imagine the ones who had not performed really well during their mocks had to deal with that, which was challenging. And most of them would be like, I was really preparing. I wanted to do better. I wanted to get a better grade. So that was frustrating to them. Okay. Of course, the challenge of social distancing. What is all this social distancing? You know, and I know, especially with the teenagers around my school, they like hanging out in the malls or going to the movies during the weekends. Now they could not even visit each other's homes, no sleepovers, nothing. So that was just adding to the frustration. And I know most of them would say, I feel stuck. I'm cramped up with my siblings. My mom is working from home. We are sharing all these resources, and there's conflict up and down. So it wasn't easy. And also, of course, restricted movement. And of course, as we know, different families have different challenges. So some of those families had family conflict issues, the domestic violence issues. And of course, as kids, sibling rivalry went up a notch. And unfortunately, also some of the parents lost their jobs or had their terms changed, meaning that the lifestyle of the students had to change as well. And of course, there's another thing, as much as technology is good, there has been, inappropriate or overuse of technology, especially with the young ones, because they have to use it for studies. Once they're finished with their studies, they're using the technology to connect with their friends or to access sites that they usually access. So you find that our kids have spent a lot of time on their gadgets. Issues of drug abuse or mental health issues, especially the students who had mental health issues before, this has been quite challenging for them. And especially kids that have anxiety. It's like now the anxiety has gone to another level. Kids are struggling with OCD. You find that the severity of their disorder has gone up. Uh, so those are just some of the challenges I've been able to face from the students, and those, of course, the parents have been asking and reaching out for help. Some of them say, I'm yelling more than usual. I can't focus on anything during the day. My kids need constant attention, working from home. I cannot get my work done. I'm more anxious than ever before. I worry about my child's grades and progress. It's like, what is next? My child has not sat for their IGs or IB. So what is the future for my child? My children are spending too much time on the screens. I love my children, but I feel trapped, so overwhelmed. I'm sure you've had the same sentiments from the parents. So, but it's not all bad. I feel like this has also been an opportunity, especially for families, to reconnect. And I've made sure that I was giving information, just doing some newsletters and sending them to the parents, just to encourage them to see the positivity in this whole situation. Spending family time together, as much as some of the parents were, or many parents were working from home, it also gave them an opportunity to actually know their children. Because in my school, most of the parents work with NGOs or international organizations, the UN especially. So some of them, or most of them, are quite busy. They don't have time for their children. So they have time, they provide everything. Money is not a problem. They have workers in the houses, but the touch, the parent touch, has been missing for a long time. And I'm glad that this has given families an opportunity to reconnect and get to know each other, as much as there has been challenges, but I believe it's been a good opportunity for families to bond. Also technology. Most of us have become tech savvy. We had to learn about all these platforms that we can use and connect with other people. And of course, this has been a time that has proven to us that as human beings, we are really resilient. We are resilient. Most of us have been able to bounce back in one way or another, despite the many challenges. Yeah. So transitioning back to school, I must say that in Kenya, we are now fully back in person classes. Challenges, teething problems here and there. In my school, they went back last term. There was a lot of anxiety, of course, about going back from the parents. They were scared, they are concerned about their children, especially contracting COVID, because most of the children had traveled back home to different countries, and now they had to travel back to Kenya to attend classes in person. So you can imagine the risk of people now from different parts of the world meeting and in one place. And of course, we had a few cases when we started off, including staff members contracting COVID. The good thing is that we had been educated as a community, well, the teachers, parents, students, about how we are meant to handle ourselves. So there has been a protocol, a very strict one, and reminders, constant reminders, parents being encouraged to talk to their children. At the beginning, well, of course, the transition, for me, I really talked to parents and I said, bring up the conversation about going back to school. Check with your children, how are they feeling? Are they excited? Are they concerned? Show them pictures of school. Remind them the stories about school. I would even say, can you just drive past the school and just let your child see the school and let them start to psychologically prepare themselves. Another thing that we've done is we have transitioned in stages. So the examination classes reported first, and we would observe and get feedback, and we use that feedback to make our next step. The students' temperatures are taken at the entrance, they're recorded, and sanitizing before and after every lesson. Of course, the biggest challenge that I've observed is social distancing. Kids are kids, including us adults. When we see each other, especially for the first time after such a long time, it's so natural for us to want to hug and, just happy. We are happy to be together. So I can say we are back, but it's different. It's a new normal. It's like we are together, but alone, because you're not supposed to be too close to your to the person next to you. Always constantly watching your distance and all. So I think that's what I would share with you for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Um, uh, when I was talking to Seema and Bernie, it's okay if if I call you Bernie and not Bernadine, um,
Absolutely.
from Sri Lanka. One of the things we said was what we might find out, and Hamida, in your really lovely presentation, I think this affirms it, that we have more in common than we have differences. And so
Absolutely.
with different locations, we may be hearing very similar pieces of what you just shared. And thank you for starting us out. So great to get to actually sort of meet you on this format. And thank you for sharing about your experience. We're so grateful.